Hello everyone and welcome to Caroline's Craftery. Today I just wanted to share with you how I made these tassels. I had lots of requests to make a tutorial, so here it is. Don't need glue on my hand. So it's kind of hard to show you how they hang on a video. But these were made out of, I believe it's a rayon thread type stuff. It's made for making tassels. Somebody gave me a whole bunch of it. So I finally wanted to use it up, and this is what I came up with. So I've made the tassel part as well as assembled it, put beads and whatnot at the top. And they all have like a bulb pin, which you could attach, or you could take the bulb pin off and put it directly onto something. So I made two different lengths and just a variety of beads and bead caps and whatnot. So they turned out really, really good. I made about 150 of them. So I'm set for a while. So I didn't have all the materials that I used to make these, so I'm making do for the video. And you can experiment with different things, or maybe you have some of this tassel stuff laying around. Who knows? It's the same type of stuff that they use for the graduation tassels. I believe it's a rayon. So, from the research that I've done. So I'll just set these ones aside for now. So I've got a few different kinds of pliers, wire cutters, and the round nose pliers. And these are just regular scissors, thread. You need a really strong thread. And this is the way I have done it. There's probably lots of different ways to do it, but I found this way quite easy. So this is a nylon thread. Hopefully it will focus. It is very, very strong. It's really hard to break it with your fingers. So, and I know this particular thread is actually used in making fishing rods. It's the thread that they use to hold on the eyes, because this was left over from when I made my fishing rods. Washi tape does come in handy to hold your thread down if you want. I don't use it, but I'm just going to use some embroidery floss type stuff. It's not quite embroidery floss, it's more of a bit of a string, but embroidery floss would work too. I have a bulb pin for the top, also known as a garment pin. I'll try and find out where I bought some of this stuff, and I'll link below, but some of it I did find in thrift stores. Here is a head pin, and I believe this is 5 centimeters long. The end is flat, but you could use one with a ball on it or one with a loop, because you don't really see it anyways. So I have the bead cap, which is different than the bead cap I used on the ones I made, but I didn't have any of them left. So hopefully that will focus. I can't really see my camera while I'm filming, so there's that. Then I've got some different bead caps, and these will be for the actual beads. These are 7 millimeters, I know that. So, and then I've just got a couple odds and ends of yellowish to brownish colored beads. Then you also need something to wrap your string around. Now I'm just using an old This was a points card that Salvation Army had, but you can use a credit card or something. For the longer ones, for these ones, I used a cutting die of an envelope and I just wrapped it around that. And it worked really good because it was the size that I wanted. So let's get started and hopefully we can figure it out from here. So I just hold it down with my finger and then I wrap it around. Depending on how thick your thread is or whatever you're using, for the ones that I made, I usually went around between 11 to 13 times with the actual tassel string. With this string, I'd probably go about 15 times, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So let's trim that off, set that aside. So now I've got a thread on the needle. Both of my ends are down here at the bottom. So I'm just going to go under all these and I'm going to go down and through this. I do it 4 times. Why do I do it 4 times? I have no idea. It just seems to work for me. So I don't worry too much on pulling this tight yet. So if I make these strings at a length that I can hold them. So at this point, and hopefully it's all good in the camera, I pull slow because I want to tighten all those threads up. And I find by doing 4, I can still pull and tighten them up. And you can see how they've tightened right up there. But yet when I let them go, it doesn't really loosen off. So once I've done that, and I'm going to start tying a knot. Now, I'm sure we all know how to tie knots, but when you do that first time, I do this 3 times total. I put that through. And I know a lot of you probably do a similar knot for other things. And I also find by doing it 3 times through there, when I pull it tight the first time, I can let it go and it doesn't all come undone. So there's my first knot. After the initial knot, then I just do a single one. And I do that about 4 times. And like I say, this thread is really, really tough. I like it because it's fine and strong. Because I don't want a lot of bulk there because I've got to put the bead cap on there. So we'll just trim that off, and I trim it fairly short because I'm not going to see the knot anyways by the time I'm done. So once you get that, it's all on the card, then you just cut the bottom. So then you've got the start of your tassel. And here is your thread that you've tied on. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's my knot right there. So now at this point, we're going to take our head pin. And what I do is I start on one side of the thread, and then I come out on the upside of the other side of the thread. Now this is probably the hardest part of making these tassels because it can be tricky to get that head pin through there and up through there. So here's an example, hopefully you can see that, where I've gone on this side, kind of put it through at an angle, and then I've come through the other side. So then I just pulled that up. Now the head part of that stops it from coming all the way through, which is why you need to go from one side of the thread you want wrapped around to the other side. So there is the start of your tassel. So the next step is to put the bead cap on. Now bead caps come in all different sizes, all different shapes, different colors. And as I said, I'll try and leave some links below if I can remember where I got them. I'll look through my Amazon orders and see if it's on there. I have ordered stuff from eBay too, so any place that sells jewelry findings, Michael's, Joann's, Tuesday Morning, I don't know, we don't have any of those stores in Canada. So, but that'll be the start of it. So then, I glue the bead caps down just because it gives it that little bit extra security. So I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac. And I don't want much because I don't want it leaking out. So I just got a little bit. I'll show you in 1 second. I don't know if you can even see the glue that I've put on there. Put on the bead cap. And then I just push it down and I just hold it for that second. Fabri-Tac dries pretty quick. Normally I would leave it sit at this stage just for a minute, just to let the glue dry and stuff, so then I'm not getting glue all over the place. So when I made my 150 tassels, I made the tassel part first. I glued the cap on, and then I did that for all of them. I used up all of my tassel thread, string, whatever it's called. And then I went back later and added all my beads and whatnot. The beads are just totally random, miscellaneous beads. From some of it's from jewelry, some is beads I've had for ever and ever. So I will put on a bead cap and a bead and another bead cap. So you get that. Now how many beads you put on, how you put them on, the colors you put on are entirely up to you. Some I've got 2, some I've got 3, some I only put 1. It's just totally random. And it depends on what you want to do. With this one, like it's the white with the blue beads, because I didn't have any of the blue thread stuff, the tassel threads, so I wanted something that would go with a blue journal, so I added blue, blacks, reds, etc. So there we've got our beads added. We've got the bead cap, bead, bead cap, bead cap, bead, bead cap. And then the top, I usually like to put something a little bit smaller, just because it just kind of finishes it off a little bit. So I don't really have any jewelry making skills or anything, so I don't even know if the way I do this part is right, but it works. So I leave, there's probably about 1/2 inch in between the beads and where I'm going to cut this head pin off. So let's just snip that off. So you can hopefully see how long I've got that. So then I take my round pliers and I'm just going to fold that over. So then I have that there. And then take my round ones. And there's other videos that show you how to make this little circle on the end that might explain it a lot better than what I am. But I grab it right at the very end. You can see how close. There's like none really sticking out there. And I just turn it about a half a turn. Then I turn my pliers around because I had them this way. But it's easier turning it if I put it this way. And then basically I'm just going to curl it up. Move my pliers around. Curl it up again. And there we have. Sometimes this goes crooked, so I just use my flat pliers and I just straighten it up a little bit. So then we'll add our bulb pin. And at this point, this is when I trim it off to make it even. I don't worry too much if it's like perfect or anything like that. So there you have a tassel. I don't mind it with the string, but it does not hang as nice as this other stuff. Just trying to arrange them here. It's kind of hard to show you, but you can just see the difference when it gets moved on how it hangs. But there's no reason why this would not work and be nice. I did try a couple of other string type stuff that I had, and the embroidery floss did work the best out of the 4 that I tried. And just a lot of people might not know this, but if you steam this thread, as well as things like wool and different fibers, if you steam it, so just put your kettle on, and while the steam's coming out, just dangle it in the steam. Just, dangle it over the steam, and the steam puffs this out, and it just makes it look fuller. I know when I used to make pom-poms, I would do that with all my pom-poms, and it just makes them fuller and they look nicer. So you can do it with embroidery floss as well. So that's it. It's not hard. Whether you have the supplies around, but you can always make do. There's lots of different things you could use. Instead of a bulb pin, you could easily use a safety pin or even another little piece of string to hang it. As for the actual thread, embroidery floss, different kinds of strings, it's a matter of just trying it. I was actually going to try one out of eyelash trim and see what it looked like. Just because I thought of it. I thought it might be a good idea. So they are relatively easy to make, I thought. And experiment. Just have fun. So, and a person can even buy tassels and then just add the beaded parts on the top and whatnot. But I don't think when you buy tassels, I don't think they have that head pin coming up, which is what you use to put all the beads on. So it all depends on what you could find and whatnot. So I hope you like this video. I hope you'll give these tassels a try. Overall, they're simple and they look great. And I'm going to do a little research, see if I can find out what this is actually called. And then I can post that information down below. But thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And if you have any questions about these, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you. Bye for now.